Good day to all my grade 8 students. For today's topic, we will talk about Music Quarter 2, Module 2, at ito ay tumatalakay sa East Asian music layout. So napag-usapan natin sa Arts of East Asian, pinag-usapan natin yung tatlong bansa. Yun ay ang mga sumusunod, Japan, China, and Korea. So let's begin with Japan. So Japanese vocal music is quite different from the Western vocal music dahil ito ay nakabasay lamang sa kanilang human breathing rather than mathematical timing. Kasi 'di ba sa Western music, they are using whole note, half note, there is what we call time signature, the timing itself, while here in Japanese vocal music, nakadepende o nakabase sila sa interval na kanilang paghinga rather than mathematical timing. And Japanese musicians shows their self-mastery in mastering their instruments more than simply perfecting a technique of some sort and giving value sa kanilang mga performance and ang traditional Japanese music, basically, ito ay meditative in character. Its performance is highly ritualized as much in the music itself as in the composure of the musicians when performing it. Ang Japanese chamber and solo music have meditative. So let's talk about the different Japanese instrument. So the first one, we have percussion instrument or membranophone. So pag sinabi nating membranophone, it is made up of membrane or balat ng hayop or pinatuyong balat ng hayop. So the first one, we have odaiko. Ano daw? Very good, odaiko. Odaiko is a big fat drum. Physically, energy and sheer excitement of an odaiko performance is an integral part of many Japanese Matsuri festival. So, ibig sabihin nito, pag sinabi nating integral part of Japanese festival or Japanese Matsuri, ibig sabihin napakahalaga ng ginagampan ng karakter ng odaiko dahil ito ay isa sa mga bumubuhay ng kanilang musika. The second one, we have Chuzumi. Ito ay isang drum with hourglass shape. So as you could see in the picture, no, para siyang sinaunang orasan yung may buhangin sa loob. So there are two varieties of Chuzumi. So meron tayong Kochuzumi and Ochuzumi. Huwag kakalimutan na there are two varieties of Chuzumi. We have Kotsuzumi and Otsuzumi. Okay, pag-usapan natin ang Kotsuzumi. Pag sinabi natin Kotsuzumi, it is a small type of Chuzumi. No? Maliit na type ng Chuzumi ang Kotsuzumi. It is being held on the right shoulder and the player alters the tone by squeezing the pieces. Habang ang Ochuzumi naman ay larger type ng Chuzumi. Again, pag sinabi nating smaller type of Chuzumi, that is Kochuzumi. At pag sinabi nating larger type of Chuzumi, that is what we call Ochuzumi. Okay? It is placed on the left thigh of a player. Both types of Chuzumi are used in No and Kabuki performances. Meron din tayong tinatawag na churidaiko. It is actually a large hanging barrel drum as you could see in our. So we have taiko. It is a Japanese drum which comes in various sizes and is used in playing varieties of musical genres. So let's talk about the string instruments or chordophone o yung mga instrumento na may mga kwento. So the first one, we have koto. Do not forget this information. It is a 13-stringed zither with about 2 meters long and is made of paulonia wood. So it is being plucked using pick on the thumb and first two fingers on the right hand, while the left hand can be used to modify pitch and the tone. Ilan daw yung kanyang string? We have 13. For about how many meters? 2 meters long at ito ay gawa sa paulonia wood. Ang tawag dyan ay koto. Next, we have shamisen. Ang shamisen naman ay isang uri ng plucked instrument or plucked stringed instrument. Its construction follows model similar to a guitar or banjo, employing a neck and some strings stretched across of resonating body. So yung neck niya is fretless, no? Walang frets o yung kumbaga sa gitara yung parang gold na guhit and slimmer than the guitar or banjo. So that is what we call shanty. Next, we have biwa. Ang biwa naman ay parang bandurya dito sa Pilipinas. Ano? It is a Japanese short-necked fretted lute often used in a narrative storytelling. So, the biwa is the chosen instrument of Benten. Pag sinabi nating Benten, that is the goddess of music, eloquence, poetry, and education in Japanese. And let's talk about the wind instruments. We have aerophone o yung mga instrumento na ginagamitan ng pag-ihip ng hangin. First one, we have shakuhachi. So it is the most famous flute na gawa po sa kawayan. It has 4 or 5 finger holes on the face and a thumb hole on the rear face. So it was imported from China for gagaku. Second one, we have nokan. Ang nokan po is a parallel bamboo flute or fue. So it is the only melodic instrument used in no. So the melody of the flute has no specific pitch relation with the melody of habang ang pangatlo ay hichiriki, it is a double reed Japanese flute. So it is used as one of the 2 main melodic instruments in Japanese gagaku music. So the other being the ryoteki. Sho is a Japanese free reed musical instrument that was introduced from China during the Nara period, habang ang Shinobue naman ay tinatawag ding takebue in the context of Japanese traditional arts. So it is a Japanese transverse flute or fue that has high-pitched sound. So among the flute or aerophone that we are talking about, Shinobue is one of the highest or one of the good or high-pitched sound among the aerophone that we are talking. So, ang Ryoteki naman ay literally tinatawag na dragon flute because it is a Japanese transverse fue na gawa din sa bamboo at ito ay ginagamit din sa gaga. Okay, let's proceed now in China. So for several thousand years, no, ang Chinese culture ay dominated o dominante, no, by the teaching of the philosopher Confucius, no? So pag sinabi nating dominated, ito ay bunga no ng katuruan ng kanilang philosopher na si Confucius. So he conceived music in the highest sense as a means of calming the passion and dispelling unrest and lust rather than as form of amusement. So let's talk about Chinese music. So, string instruments or what phone, meron silang yukin. Ano daw? Very good, yukin. Ang yukin is a moon-shaped lute with short neck and may 4 siyang strings. It is played with a spectrum, so it is used for accompanying local. Second one, we have pipa. Ang pipa is a 4-stringed lute with 30 frets. So imagine, ang dami niyang frets, no? And a pear-shaped body. So this instrument has an extremely wide dynamic range and remarkable expressive power. Next, we have erhu. So it is a 2-stringed fiddle. So it is one of the most popular Chinese instruments. So it is used as solo instrument in small ensemble or large orchestra and by various ethnic groups. We have zeng. Ang zeng naman is an ancient Chinese instrument that has an arched surface and an elongated trapezoid with 13 to 21 strings stretched over individual bride. So its playing range spans from 3 to 4 octaves. Alright, let's move on to. So we have also Sheng. So it is called as Chinese mouth organ and looks like a set of pan pipes because it has 12 to 36 bamboo pipes. Napakadami, di ba? So each pipe is of different length with a brass reed at the bottom and a hole that must be blocked in order for the note to sound. So we have the Z. Ang DC naman a traditional Chinese flute. Do not forget. Can have a okay, so let's proceed to percussion instrument or so we have pengling. Ang pengling po ay two small bells made of high-tin bronze without internal clappers and hemispheric or bottomless gourd-like shape. So the instrument has a delicate clarion and melodious tone. So it is a coloring rhythmic instrument either in ensemble or in theater music, bringing an effect of peaceful games. And also we have Yunlo. Ang Yunlo po ay literally known as cloud gongs because it is a set of 10 small tuned gongs mounted in a wooded frame. The Yunlo's gongs are generally of equal diameter but different thickness, so the thicker gongs produce higher. Next, we have Korea. Ang Korea's folk music tradition, with its generous use of bright rhythms and melodies, offers a more energetic and capricious contrast to the nation's collection of classical music works. So we have what we call Chongak, nang ibig sabihin ay right or tama or correct in English music. So its tradition includes both instrumental and vocal music, which were cultivated mainly by the upper class literati of the Joseon society. So, meron din tayong tinatawag na sogak or iminsogak. So, it is category of Korean music traditionally associated with the lower classes or for the general public and are vibrant and energetic. So, it includes genres such as pansori and minyo. So, instrumental of music of Korea or instrument music of Korea. Ang Korean music po kasi, especially in South Korea, has rich vocal tradition and diverse instrument and music forms. So, ang folk song nila, ang religious works, kanilang court music, and shaman ritual all express the soul of the nation in which history is filled with colorful and fascinating tales. So, lahat po ng mga kaganapan sa kanilang bansa, maparelihiyon man yan, tumatalakay sa kanilang palasyo, kasaysayan, and the like, ay doon nakatuon yung kanilang tema, no? Dahil sila ay sagana, no? Sa kanilang mga Korean music instruments. The first one we have is string instrument. Phone. The first one we have Kaya Gum or in their language it is called as Gaya Gyum. So it's a traditional Korean zither, so like string instrument with 12 strings, although more recently variants have been constructed with 21 or more numbers of strings. So it is probably the best known traditional Korean musical instrument. Do not forget Kayagum and Gaya. Two-stringed vertical fiddle, ito naman ay tinatawag na haigom. So it has a rod-like neck, a hollow wooden soundbox, two silk strings, and is held vertically on the knee of the performer and play with the uh, we have Geomungo. It is a six-string plucked zither. It is a traditional Korean string musical instrument of the zither family of instruments with both bridges and frets. You know that scholars believe that the name refers to Goguryeo and translated to Goguryeo zither, or that refers to the color that translates to black rain zither. Let's talk about the wind instrument of Korea or as aerophone. We have piri. Ang piri po ay ginagamit for both folk and classical court music of Korea. So it is made of bamboo. Ito ay large reed and cylindrical bore give it a sound mellower than the many other types of. So let's talk about the percussion instrument, yung mga pinapalong instrumento or known as membran. So we have chango. Ang chango po ay most widely used drum in the traditional music of Korea. So it is available in most kinds. Meron din siyang hourglass-shaped body with two heads na gawa po sa balat ng hayop. The two heads produce sounds of different pitch and timbre, which when played together are believed to represent the harmony of a man and a woman. So kaya daw dalawa yung ulo no ng chango dahil meron silang magkaibang tunog at every time they use it, pinaniniwalaan nila ito ay nagre-represent daw sa harmony ng babae. Let's talk about vocal music of Korea. So, vocal timbre, nasal and throaty yung characteristic. While the rhythm, ito something to do with duple, triple, and quadruple. How about melody, we have pentatonic scale and diatonic scale. Once we say texture in their vocal music, monophony or a cappella ang kadalasan nilang ginagamit. Homophony with chordal accompaniment, meron din sila. Heterophony, same melody but ornamented by several instruments. So we have form. Ang form naman ay strophic or they are using the same tune on different verse. Okay, so let's talk about vocal music of Japan. So the main tone of Japanese music has two modes, the yosen and the insen. So both consist of five primary tones na nakabasay doon sa kanilang scale na may seven tones. So the two remaining tones are considered as auxiliary tones or auxiliary tones. The ancient melody of Japanese music is commonly based on these modes. However, ang isang melody is not always in one mode alone. Ang kanilang melody ng Japanese music commonly shapes on both modes. So they often give emphasis on the second or fourth tones of the. So isa sa pinakasikat na Japanese folk song ay ang Sakura or Cherry Blossom, no? And Moliwa. It is a traditional Chinese song with gentle and lyrical melody. So the lyric about the jasmine flower also turn it into a love. So meron din tayong arirang. It is a Korean folk song. So sometimes used as a symbol of Korea and Korean culture. Ang arirang daw ay essence ng song of. Alright, so let's proceed to your quiz. All you have to do is to answer this on a separate sheet of paper. So please pause in every slide for you to answer each questions here in our quiz. So right after you answer the following test, kindly submit it to your MAPE teacher. Once again, pause it before you answer for you able to follow the questions and for you to answer. All right, for number 7 to 10.